Almost a week, and the White House has yet to respond to the Iran proxy attack that caused American bloodshed.
Deterrence is a thing that we have to be pursuing. That requires some strength and also requires Congress. And Congress is where the war-making power lies.
Pennsylvania Congressman Chris Deluzio on Fox's special report today. The president will join the families of the 3 service members killed in Jordan for a dignified transfer of their remains. Several people are said to be dead after a small plane crashed into a mobile home park in Florida overnight. Fire officials saying the plane slammed into one home, exploded, and then spread to other homes.
The tower over there was able to get a radio transmission from the pilot that he was having a mayday, 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 and the aircraft went off radar about 3 miles north of the runway, which is in this location here.
That's Clearwater Fire Chief Scott Ehlers. America's listening to Fox News.
Freedom 97.1 WSME.
Live and local. Real talk starts now.
And right now is a little bit after 7 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Rayford Brown.
And I'm Lee Barrows.
And may I start off the day with TGIF.
It's Friday, yay day.
Good Friday morning. It's the second day of the second month of 2024, better known as Groundhog Day, a day that we wait for that furry, lying little critter known as a groundhog. So Puxaton's we feel to exit make his way into the real world and decide whether spring arrives on time or whether we get to experience another 6 weeks of winter. He uses the most up-to-date scientific equipment to determine whether he sees his own shadow or not. It's called the sun. I'm betting that most have no clue how this works, so I will explain. If this rodent comes out of his lair and sees his own shadow, then we will have 6 more weeks of winter. Okay. Pretty the same as the long range, pretty much the same as the long range accuracy forecast of weather guys these days, 39% of the time. Weather guys get it wrong a lot more than that. Groundhog Day has been a meteorological and cultural tradition since the 1800s in Pennsylvania. The thing is, 6 more weeks of winter in Pennsylvania. What about North Carolina? How about Jacksonville? What does it mean for us? Anything?
We don't
Nothing?
count. We have all our seasons in one day, every day.
Yeah, pretty much around the clock. So anyway, it is Groundhog Day and happy Groundhog Day. But, you know, there was that movie.
Yeah, I just want to go on record to say I already feel like this day is repeating over and over again.
Good Friday morning. It's the second day. Yeah, it could be that way.
Haven't we done this already?
Yeah, well, yesterday or no, last year. So yeah, anyway. Okay, what are you guys up to? You want to chat with us this morning? You've got a little bit of time beginning at 7:30. We got a lot going on. So if you got something you want to say, now's the time. 910-333-0139. 910-333-0139. Tragic news going on right now. A developing story down in Clearwater, Florida. Overnight, about 7 o'clock last night, several people are apparently dead after the plane crashed into a mobile home park in Clearwater. That's according to the Clearwater Fire and Rescue Department. The Federal Aviation Administration confirmed that a Beechcraft Bonanza V-35 crashed into the Bayside Waters mobile home park. The crash happened about 7 o'clock. The first call came in a little after 7. During a news conference, Clearwater Fire Chief Scott Ehlers said that the plane hit one mobile home, which caused a fire. It exploded, and the fire spread to at least 3 other homes. He said 3 structures definitely have fire damage. Another has possible fire damage. The plane was found inside one of the structures, and he confirmed that several fatalities from the aircraft and within the mobile home that it crashed into. Video from the scene shows a massive fireball erupting from the park. Firefighters were able to quickly extinguish the fire. It's unclear how many people were injured on the ground or how many people were on board the plane. Not known at this time.
Sad news.
It's sad news.
Yes.
You know,
I've been to Clearwater.
Oh, I have too. But, you know, oh, wow.
Sad news. You know,
You're sitting there watching the 7 o'clock, whatever you're watching on TV, and a plane crashes into your trailer.
Yeah. You know, I've always had that fear, though, sometimes when we have so many aircraft and helicopters, Ospreys, them practicing.
Yeah.
And sometimes late at night and it gets real loud and you're cupboards start shaking and the doors start opening and dishes start falling out. And it gets kind of scary sometimes.
We did have one back in 1968, was it? Or 69? A Huey helicopter
I remember
crashed
that.
into the Piggly Wiggly store. It was
Right. I think
A&P
it was
store,
A&P
A&P
at the
store
time.
in Northwoods at the time near the bridge, and there were 3 people on board. So all 3 were killed. I think one of them fell out. The crew chief
I think so.
fell out as the chopper was going down, and he landed some distance away. And they searched and found him over in a little bit of a wooded area. It ended up in the meat cutter section of the
Yes, I
A&P.
remember that. Yes,
And
that's where my mama used to take us grocery shopping. The A&P.
It was it was an awful situation. I went over there after the fact, but terrible news.
It was. Yeah, I mean, sounds of freedom when they're out
Yeah,
there
well, absolutely.
flying over your house, but sometimes it gets a little scary. Have you ever sat there and like it's getting so close and loud, you don't know whether to get up and run out of the house?
Which way would you run?
I know, that's just it. I've had that fear. Like, where do I go?
Just count on it. Hasn't happened here yet.
Right, and
Hopefully
then
it
we had
never
an
will.
Osprey go down right there off of
Gum Branch Road.
Gum Branch Road, right
Yep.
close to me.
Yep.
And I remember when that happened. Oh, okay. We're going to get on.
That and some other Osprey crashes started a huge investigation into the Ospreys and whether they were safe or not. Same thing happened when the Harriers were brand new and they started
Right,
coming in.
right.
It takes a different mentality to fly them.
Did you hear about the plane crash in Clearwater, Florida this morning? Oh, that's right. It's Groundhog Day. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to make you crazy all morning.
I'm already there, so don't go any further.
Oh, my goodness.
It's going to be a heck of an election year,
Yes,
like
it
none
is.
other. At the top of the list are the efforts in several states now to prevent Donald Trump to even appear on primary ballots. That's getting a lot of attention and giving Trump even more support in a number of other states. Now, the Oregon Supreme Court just yesterday decided that 10 Republican state senators who participated in a record-long boycott last summer to block bills extending access to abortion for minors, transgender procedures, and medical intervention, as well as another measure on ghost guns, cannot seek re-election this year.
What?
Yeah, because they were part of a month-long boycott last summer to block bills. Now, the Oregon Supreme Court said they cannot even be on the agenda, on the ballots.
What is going on with our courts?
It's going to get real nasty.
It's going to get nasty.
It's going to
Everything's
get
crazy.
really nasty.
Anyone
It's
has
just
the right
not-
to run for president.
It's just not
and-
wrong. It's just not right. Well, these are
and some of
state
these other-
senators.
right. Some of these other offices.
state senators.
Unfortunately, most people have the right to run.
They
And
do.
all of them should be.
Well,
But it's
it's
your
not.
opinion, my
It's
opinion.
not up to the courts to decide who can and cannot run
I
for
agree.
election.
That's
okay?
what I mean. What's up with the courts? All this, different courts, different states opposing and trying to keep Trump from being on the ballot, and everything's going to court. It's just craziness. It's craziness.
The Oregon Senate Republican caucus charged that the Democrat-stacked Supreme Court sides with Democrats and union cronies on Measure 113, despite plain language of Constitution. The caucus stressed that the state high court's decision is effectively ending the service of 10 Republican senators who represent 1/3 of the Oregon Senate. The ruling upholds Democratic Oregon Secretary of State LaVon Griffin Villad's announcement last August to disqualify the 10 lawmakers from the ballot under a measure aimed at stopping such boycotts. Measure 113, passed by voters in 2022, amended the state constitution to bar lawmakers from re-election if they have more than 10 unexcused absences.
Well, okay.
And that's,
Well, what if you call in and say, I'm sick today? Can I have an excused absence?
how about if you get COVID?
Crazy. True.
Do you want that? Well, that I guess would be an excused absence, but
What if you died? Would that be excused or unexcused? Without
Probably,
notice.
probably unexcused, so they could put a person of a different party in office, whichever party it is. And they all play the same shenanigans games, both sides
Right.
do. And they'll look for something, some kind of a deal.
Do you feel like over the last 10 years that things have gotten crazier, worse, as you would say, worser?
Much more worse.
Much more worser
Yeah, it's just like, what is going on?
in our Congress, in our elections, and in our
Our,
courts,
School
our
boards.
school boards,
God.
poor school boards. New Hanover County, I just read an article yesterday where they're making a motion to, they want to make a motion to fire the superintendent. And I'm like, Lord, what is going on with the school boards?
I don't know.
And of course, they had hired that attorney firm that our school board did not hire. And now they're having issues with that attorney firm, mainly because the attorney firm is fighting with and
It-
suing
within
each other
itself, yeah.
within itself. And something to do with now breaking their contract with the school. I don't know. It's crazy. I guess we did pick the right firm.
No, we certainly
our
didn't pick,
school
we
system
didn't
did,
pick the wrong
yes.
one. That's a good
No,
thing.
mm-mm. We were talking a few minutes ago about helicopters and hovering and stuff. And a friend of mine just texted me and said that she one time had a helicopter hovering back and forth over her house low, which caused her to wake up. But you want to know why he was hovering?
Huh.
Her hot tub was on fire.
Oh,
And he was actually hovering her house to try to wake the family up to let them know your hot tub's on fire.
ever heard of a hot tub catching fire?
Yeah.
That was
They
a
have-
hot tub.
It was a hot scene, hot mess.
Mm.
Wow.
Huh.
Well,
Must have been a defective motor or something.
yeah, but it's pretty cool. The helicopter hovering over
Yeah.
our house. Hey, wake
And
up.
it woke up.
Yeah,
woke
woke
'em
him up.
Well, good.
So that's pretty cool.
I'm assuming that the helicopter also arranged for the fire department to be notified.
I would hope so.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Was it a military chopper or one
Yeah,
of
it's
the medical
military.
chopper? Well, good for them.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you,
If
United
my hot
States
tub
Marine
catches
Corps.
fire, please let us know.
Yeah, if my hot tub catches fire, just hover my house. Drop something down.
Yeah.
Maybe a fire extinguisher.
Well, I got a few of those. So.
Yes, I do too. Wow, that was a crazy story.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get real. If the state's constitution says that the state's lawmakers cannot legally run for reelection, if they miss more than 10 have more than 10 unexcused absences in the legislature, and they have no reasons for missing the class, that may be a problem. There's a but or two. First, it's Oregon. The Oregon Senate Republican caucus charged that the Democrat-stacked Supreme Court sides with Democrats and union cronies on Measure 113. The ruling upholds that Democrat-controlled Secretary of State. Why are there so many party-related issues?
That's what I mean. The last 10 years. To me, I would think the last 10 years have been crazy. I mean, when I jumped into the political field back in 2015, I don't remember all this. I just don't remember having all this.
I don't remember it ever.
We had great meetings. We all laughed. We all got along. Everybody worked hard. We went to Bojangles after the meeting and ate chicken and laughed. And it was good times, but so much turmoil now everywhere.
I like the biscuits and honey from Bojangles.
Well, we might have thrown a few of those on our plate too.
All these legislators, 10 of them, were absent for as much as 6 weeks.
Well, that's a little much, in my opinion. Why? Why were they absent?
Abandoning their jobs in protests? Okay, let me tell you what. You walk off a job and you don't show up. You don't have an excuse reason for not being there. That's called abandoning your job.
Well, if we elected you to be our representative, I would expect you to be there on the job.
Yeah, I would too.
Most
I don't care what
definitely.
party it is.
That's right.
So
I know.
there's a problem. You cannot run for re-election if that happens. That's what the rules state, adopted 2 years ago.
Okay.
I'm not sorry, but shame on you. It's Oregon, and you should have known better.
So they're protesting the new rules by not attending.
I guess. I don't know what they're doing. Being kind of crazy.
I'd be electing somebody else.
So would I. And they apparently will be electing somebody else. Hello, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing good this morning. I hope y'all are too.
Good
Hanging
morning.
in
Good
there.
early morning.
You're up early.
Are you keeping a watch on the groundhog?
No, not really. I always thought that was kind of silly. He comes out. Who wouldn't be scared of all them lights and reporters and people standing around?
With all those lights around, there are going to be shadows. You understand that,
probably-
right?
Yeah.
They
TV
probably-
lights create
Yeah.
shadows.
They probably got him drugged
What-
because he never gets it
Yeah,
right.
what it actually shows us is that you can get a better weather forecast by flipping a coin than you can watching the man.
Amen to that.
Or the groundhog.
Yeah. Hey, y'all were talking about the craziness in politics there, and I wanted to throw my 2 cents in, and obviously I would say that Trump coming on the scene, I ain't gonna say he did it, but it changed something in our politics. It made a lot of politicians just do whatever they want to, and then let the courts decide if it's right or wrong. So now we have a bunch of court cases involving a bunch of politicians, and
Which is a waste of
that's
their
like cause and
energy.
effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's a waste of our money and their energy, and they could be doing something else constructive, like putting bad people in
Yeah.
prison.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, we find ourselves also in a predicament where, and I know this is a hard pill to swallow, but Republicans don't want to hear the truth anymore. And I offer you as evidence Liz Cheney, Adam Kissinger, Mitt Romney, the January 6th committee. All these are Republicans that were trying to tell Republicans what Republicans done wrong. And they want to discount it and say it's fake and say they're rhinos. And they want to live in some kind of propaganda filled fantasy of what they want to believe instead of what the actual facts are anymore. And until we straighten that out, the politicians are going to be crazy and insane because they can do what they want, and people are, just trying to find ways to justify that bad behavior instead of condemning it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say that's unique to the Republican Party, but the Republican Party seems to be running a monopoly on it at the moment.
Well, there's discourse on both sides. We see it. I see it. Being from in the middle, not a member of either party. There are some really great Democrats, and I will point to you one, Joe Manchin, probably the best one that I know of, who is in office. I'm sure there are others, but he's the only one that I know of personally that we follow because he's out there on a regular basis. Joe Biden is not one. Joe Biden is a lost cause. Kamala Harris, oh my God. I don't care what party either one of them's in. They're lost causes.
But my initial question to that would be it would take a longer time to talk about, but what policies are you speaking about?
Pretty much
Not
everything.
just how you feel about them personally, but their actual policy. Now, I agree. I don't agree with Kamala Harris's policies, and there's some of Joe Biden's policies I don't agree with. But I could say the same thing about people on the right. There's some things
Well, so
agree
could
with,
I.
some things I don't agree
And
with.
I do on a regular
Yeah.
basis.
Right.
We got
Right,
some
yeah.
here in Onslow County that I just totally disagree with. They're Republicans.
And I would agree that Joe Biden is far from perfect, or for what we would perceive as perfect. But you always have to remember what the alternative was in 2020. And as long as that's the alternative, Joe Biden is, to me, is the sane alternative. Really, both of them are ridiculous as candidates. We should be able to do better as Americans.
Absolutely.
But the Joe Biden administration, they have faults and things they need to work on for sure, but they're not doing bad as far as the economy is concerned. The numbers are good. There's a lot of people try and tell you that there's, give you all kinds of excuses why it's not. And I wouldn't even say they're wholly responsible for that. I think American people are just as much responsible for that as the administration. But the numbers are good. You can't deny that. Any administration would like to have these numbers.
What numbers?
So, record low unemployment for 24 straight months.
Have you been to the grocery store lately?
I understand that, but there's some factors that I think that are involved in that maybe people miss.
Yeah. Have you been to the gas station lately? It's gone up again.
Well,
this week.
I know. I've spoke with friends before about the whole prices at the grocery store. Somebody's got to pay for all those people pushing shopping carts around in there for people who don't want to shop no more. And I did a quick little math on just the Walmart in Swansboro, and with the amount of shoppers that they put on the floor, it has increased their overhead labor by $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to pay that $1 million.
Do you know why people you know why the people are inside Walmart and inside Sam's and other stores as well? Why they're pushing shopping carts around? Employees are pushing shopping carts around because of that pandemic. They started something back then, offering that so people could shop without having to go inside the stores, and it's still going on. Sam's has got a whole ton of pick up my groceries at Sam's. Lowe's has got the same thing.
It did, right.
And that's what caused
work
it.
has exploded. And that's part of why I believe that so many businesses are having a hard time finding help, because there's so many people have figured out that they can do good work and work for themselves and make decent money. So, those things have pulled a tremendous amount of people away from the low-paying jobs, like
especially the service and things like service industry, especially. Yes,
right.
But when
you can be a shopper for $18 an hour at Walmart, you're not going to go work. And even now, for $12 at Taco Bell, who would go for 12 at Taco Bell when Walmart starts at 15 and gets raises pretty quick?
The only downfall I see about people going into business for themselves, like an Uber driver or a DoorDasher, you're doing that. You're making money. You're paying your bills. I agree with that. But where's your retirement for the future? Where's your health insurance? It's not like being able to go get a job like in the county or in the state, federal government, where you go in under a plan and you have retirement and you have health insurance and you have those benefits. So that's the one thing I see. I people going into business, driving Ubers and stuff, I think is great, but they're having to make, just think out of the money they're making. If they continue doing that, what are they doing for their retirement? They're going to wait till Social Security?
Yeah, pretty much.
Let me throw this in there, Lee. Okay. Is that in the big cities where the Uber drivers run continuously all day, they make around $500-$600 a day.
Yep.
Well, I certainly hope they've got health insurance.
They don't have them around here. Yeah. Let me tell you, as an Uber driver, that don't happen around here.
I'll take the transit. Take the city transit. Yeah, I understand.
That's what I'm saying. That's pulled so many people away. If you're in a city where you can pull down $200-$300 a day driving Uber, that's what you're going to do.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Good points on both sides.
I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Let's take a break and do some weather. You're live and local. Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME.
Hey, this is Chris Rainer from Sports Talk. Tune in at 9 a.m. today. Our guest will be Chris Miller from the Jacksonville Daily News. We'll be talking about high school sports, top performers, plays, standings, all the great stuff that comes with Onslow County Sports on Freedom 97.1 WSME.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-290-5599. That's 1-800-290-5599. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-290-5599. That's 1-800-290-5599.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
A plan every adult family member should consider is the pre-arranged funeral. It's the worry-saving thing to do for your family. Making pre-arrangements helps to alleviate the additional stress on family members that can come with arranging a loved one's funeral. Jones Funeral Home's prepaid funeral plan helps remove confusion. They make a practical evaluation of costs possible, and it's the best way to take an unpleasant task off the shoulders of the family. Call Jones Funeral Home at 455-1281.
With locations in Jacksonville, Richland, Swansboro, and Holly Ridge.
Welcome to Lane & Associates Family Dentistry, where we love to make you smile. Now proud to be working with Doctors Kim and Tommy Morgan, formerly Morgan Family Dentistry. The Jacksonville and Richlands Morgan offices of Lane & Associates Family Dentistry blends the latest technology with personal care and attention, so you have an amazing dental experience. The offices of Lane & Associates welcome all ages and accepts all major insurances, including military. Lane & Associates Family Dentistry has been serving the state of North Carolina for over 40 years, with 2 locations in Jacksonville, Richlands, and Maysville. Call for an appointment today at 877-LANE-DDS or online at lanedds.com. Welcome to Lane & Associates Family Dentistry.
Looking for a job? Full-time? Part-time? Il Cigno Italiano Restaurant wants you. We're currently hiring for hostesses, servers, bartenders, and dishwashers. Il Cigno Italiano is a family-owned, fast-paced restaurant that offers the best in fine dining on the Crystal Coast. If you're hardworking, reliable, professional, and have a desire to always strive for better, we want to talk to you. Make great money and be a part of an outstanding, dedicated team. Il Cigno Italiano on West Corbett Avenue in Swansboro.
It's live and local. Real talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME.
All right, down at Thailand Marine, they don't put a lot of faith in that little ground thing called Phil. They rely on the National Weather Service. Of course, here in Jacksonville, local boaters know that when the ospreys, the birds, not the aircraft, start nesting, spring is upon us. If you're a boater, pay attention. It's February. It's time to start planning to get your boats in to make sure they are spring ready. Otherwise, wait much longer, and you're going to find yourself at a very long line of boaters who heeded the warning. If it's a routine annual servicing, the wait time is not very long. But if there was an issue when you last used your boat, maybe last year, I'm betting that it did not heal itself during the winter months, and that will take a bit longer to repair. But at Tideline Marine continues to remind folks, the sooner you get your boat in, the sooner it will be ready for a fun boating season. Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street, on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. Offshore today, westerly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet, except 2 to 3 near shore. Dominant period 7 seconds. Sounds in rivers a moderate chop. Tomorrow, northerly winds 15 to 20 with gusts up to 25, diminishing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon, seas 3 to 5 feet, dominant period 4 seconds, sounds and rivers a little bumpy. And on Sunday, northeasterly winds around 10 knots, seas only 2 to 3 feet, sounds and rivers a light chop.
And today is mostly sunny with a high near 64, light west wind becoming northwest 5 to 9 miles per hour in the morning. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 35. Saturday, sunny with a high near 53. And Sunday, sunny with a high near 56. Now, that's dropped because yesterday it was supposed to be 64 on Sunday.
This system has delayed itself a little bit. So maybe next week we'll get back up in there to the 60s.
Coming back in.
On the phone with us right now, there's a young man
Yes.
named Jack Clark. He's running for the chief bean counter position here in North Carolina, the auditor. Good morning, Jeff. Jack, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing fine.
Thanks for having me.
I'm Rayford, and we got Lee in here as well.
Yes.
I think she's been talking with you. So running for North Carolina auditor. Some people might say that sounds like a boring job.
Well, I think they would be right. I have a background in accounting, and I can tell you it's not terribly exciting. So not sure why 5 other people want to do it, but it's important work. Someone's got to check to make sure the taxpayer money is being used appropriately. So you're a little bit right. That's just the top bean counter in the state, but it's definitely important that someone who knows how to do the job is elected.
Well, I'm totally supportive of having audits and having somebody watching what everybody else is doing with my money.
Yes.
That's the line. That's what I like to see.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're a CPA. I know you went to UNC. No, you went to Duke and then UNC, right?
Yeah, I went to Duke
Oh,
for undergrad and then UNC for grad school. So,
okay.
it-
I have a question
don't
already,
judge me too
Jack.
much.
Is it
Yep.
Duke or the Tar Heels? Is it the Devils or the
So,
Hills?
as much as I need to court all the UNC votes, I grew up a Duke fan. My dad went to Duke,
Hmm.
so
Okay.
so I side with
We'll
Duke.
let you
but
slide.
try not to hold that against me too much.
I'm a state fan, so yes, I will. Both counts.
I married a state woman. So
Oh, good for
got
you.
the whole, triangle there.
Yeah. Okay.
See,
Well, that's good.
already he's part of the family now.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're all right.
So I went to Duke undergrad, got an econ degree, went to UNC to get my master's in accounting on the audit track. I went on to be an auditor in public accounting for a bit, got my CPA that way. Then I worked in internal audit. So I've audited, multi-billion-dollar global companies as well as, tiny startups. So that means I have the experience to audit the big agencies as well as the tiny municipalities. Most recently, I actually moved into politics. I now work as a research assistant for a budget chair. And so I've seen the budget process up close and personal, which means not only do I know where the money's supposed to go, I can audit where it actually goes.
Interesting. That's
Have you
good.
found out anything that's like red flags in your auditing processes?
It won't weigh.
Oh, well, is there something that's happening with our money that you would say this is just not right?
Well, government spending is wasteful, and there's any number of ways that it would be wasteful. So I haven't audited in government. All my audit work has been in private sector, but I know how to look for things not going right. And most importantly, from my side, is helping every agency and municipality and all of them do their jobs better. So not only do I want to catch things going wrong, I want to help set things up so that fraud and waste don't happen in the future. Because it's better to prevent fraud than to catch it.
I would like you to take a look, once you're the auditor, take a look at the extra money that everyone to spend, dating back about 5 or 6, 7 years ago, that the fees were increased for voter registration with the caveat that money, the extra money, was going to be used to maintain the shallow draft inlets here in North Carolina. I'd like to know how much of that money actually, that extra money that is being collected, is actually going there.
That's definitely something I'll keep my eye on. But for my campaign, I'm doing a little bit differently than others. I'm not, promising anyone any specific audits.
Sure.
Because the auditor is kind of more like a judge's role. The auditor's role is to be objective, to find the facts, to find exactly what's going on. And maybe a lot of my competitors are saying, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to find exactly this. And I just don't think that's quite how auditing works from my experience. But that's certainly something that I will keep in the back of my head and consider for auditing.
There's some uniqueness probably to the auditor's office at a state level than any other office in North Carolina. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
What kind of special things and powers does the auditor have that, for instance, legislators and elected judges and others do not have?
The auditor actually has subpoena power, from what I believe. The auditor can go into pretty much anywhere and pretty much demand that the books are opened and gather support. It's really an extra line of defense for the taxpayer dollars in a way that the General Assembly or the Attorney General can't really get to as part of their jobs. The auditor also really is the one that gathers the information and makes sure that kind of brings it to either the legislature or the Attorney General or whoever needs to see it for the next steps. And the auditor's information really has to be trusted. It has to be objective, without bias, in order for the right decision to be made.
Okay, cool. So you kind of look for wasteful spending as well, I assume.
Yeah. So the auditor doesn't make policy, but the auditor just makes sure that the money is being used the way it's being said that it's being used.
Okay.
So auditing is every company. I'll use the private sector as an example. Every company makes an assertion that their money is being used in ways, and the auditor basically goes in and say, "Okay, prove it." And so the company has to produce documentation and evidence and support that what they say the money's being used for is actually being used for. So that's more the auditor's role. It's not necessarily like, if a municipality says, "Oh, we've allocated the money through our processes to this wasteful thing," the auditor can't come in and say, "Oh, well, I don't personally like that. I don't personally think that was the best use." The auditor just makes sure that they're using it. So but the General Assembly is pretty good about allocating our money. Working for a budget chair, I kind of have to say that too. But once the GA or the counties allocate the money, then the auditor makes sure that they're actually spending it on what they say they're spending it on.
Okay, that's good. Back in the day, at one point in time, to be able to join the FBI, you either had to be a lawyer or have a law degree, or you had to be a CPA. Those were the two criteria. I thought that was interesting. I always did think that was pretty cool. Because
I guess I could have been an FBI agent.
Yeah, you could have been. You still could.
I want to stick to North Carolina.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, that's good. All right. Hey, is there anything else that people need to know about you and your campaign that sets you apart from the rest of the group?
Yeah, I'm a first-time campaigner, and I'm campaigning for this specific role because I feel like that's where my background and experience has best led. All the other people running for auditor, they're good guys. I have nothing against them, but I just don't believe they have the experience necessary. The auditor has to perform audits based on auditing standards, and no one else in that race has dealt with the auditing standards in the way that I have. So that's really my main what I'm running on. I'm not running on or rhinos or I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I have the experience and the background in order to do this job.
I like that you're putting yourself out there and not bashing others at the same time. That's a good good deal.
I agree.
Very good. Jack, we appreciate your call this morning.
And best wishes on your campaign.
Yeah. When hopefully I'm sure there's a Democrat running, right?
Yep. The Democrat was appointed after Beth Wood stepped down.
Oh,
in
that's
December.
right. Yes.
She's an attorney, no accounting or audit experience. So that's another benefit of me going to the general is I actually am an auditor.
Okay, very good. So hopefully you'll be going up against him in November. How's that sound?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Jack, thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Jack. Have a great weekend.
Thanks. You too.
Thank you. And happy Groundhog Day. Let's take a break and just do a few commercials, and we'll be right back here live and local Real Talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME, worldwide, WSME971.com. We'll be right back.
Flatwoods Outfitters of Hubert looks forward to serving you throughout the new year with all your sporting arm needs and personal safety. Located at 111 Second Amendment Lane in Hubert between Jacksonville and Swansboro, Flatwoods Outfitters is Onslow County's oldest sporting and firearm facility. Flatwoods Outfitters has a long gun or pistol in stock. to fit your need, whether for hunting or personal safety. Take advantage of their outdoor shooting range to practice or to learn how to safely operate your firearm, which Flatwoods highly recommends. At Flatwoods, you can sight in your scope to be sure of perfect accuracy to bag that trophy. They carry all the major brand names of long guns, shotguns, and pistols, as well as ammunition. If you are interested in a concealed weapon permit, Flatwoods Outfitters can assist with that also. Flatwoods Outfitters, 111 Second Amendment Lane, just off Highway 24 in Hubert, where they aim to preserve our hunting heritage, wildlife, and Constitution.
Well, Happy New Year, everyone. This is John Davis, Mayor of Swansboro, also candidate for County Commissioner here in Onslow County. And I would ask for your vote. Just want to say thank you out to my Swansboro staff and what they are doing to make our town be as beautiful as it is. As I like to say, that we are the diamond in the ring for Onslow County. Shout out to my staff and the hard work that y'all do in Swansboro. And certainly to my Dairy Queen, invite all of you that come through Swansboro to stop at the Dairy Queen and visit with us. And my staff there will love on you and take care of you and hopefully get you some really delicious ice cream, or if you're also hungry for lunch or dinner, we do have some really good hamburgers and chicken tenders, so you can enjoy those as well.
Humphrey Heating and Air Conditioning, your trusted local carrier indoor weather team, serving all of your heating and air conditioning needs since 1967. Now offers residential and commercial duct and dryer vented cleaning, and now offers expert residential and commercial plumbing service. In case of a power outage due to a storm or for any other reason, be prepared with a Generac generator for your home or business. Humphrey Heating and Air Conditioning has Generac generators in stock, ready to install today. Remember, better breathing comes with cleaner air. Let Humphrey Heating and Air Conditioning improve the air quality in your home or business with professional air duct cleaning. As always, Humphrey Heating and Air Conditioning is available 24/7 for all your heating, cooling, and plumbing emergency needs. Turn to the carrier experts, Humphrey Heating and Air Conditioning, with locations in Jacksonville and Hampstead. Visit online, humphreyheating.com. And follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Humphrey Heating and Air Conditioning since 1967. Relax, we're on the way.
It's live and local. Real talk on Freedom 97.1 WSME.
And we're back. Happy Groundhog Day. Today is the second day of February.
Did you hear about that plane crash in
Yeah, there was a
Clearwater,
plane
Florida?
crash down in Clearwater last night about 7 o'clock.
What kind of plane?
I'm so glad it's
Beechcraft
Friday.
crashed into a trailer, a mobile home.
We're practicing Groundhog Day.
Several people were killed. We let off the show with it, but it's Groundhog's Day, so,
So
we
you just keep
we
repeating
keep
it. Okay.
repeating
Okay.
keep repeating it.
and then we're going to repeat it some more. And the weather is cold. It's 40 degrees outside. Not to you.
On
It's not
its way to 60, though, right? It's going to be nice today.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
nicer, less worser, but it's not going to be.
Hey, think what it was like 2 weeks ago. Wasn't
Yeah,
it
I know,
like
75.
No.
Oh.
Before all that.
Oh, well, before
it was in the teens.
Yes, I know.
You
I
had a-
forget that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to repeat
Southern boy.
that. Yeah, you got that right. Yeah, we had, in fact, I clocked 81 degrees one of those days in my Jeep going down the road. Wow. What a good time that was. Windows down.
Nice.
No heat on.
You know what? It'll be hot as blazes
Well,
before
I
you
have
know it. So
breaking news.
enjoy breaking news from Lee.
Yes,
Did the-
yes.
Was plane
Folks,
crash?
yeah, Phil did not see his shadow.
How's that possible? You know, it's like Steve said. You know, they grabbed the little rodent out of the box, and all the keg lights are on from
That's
the
right.
TV, and you know they
There's
can't help
no
but not see
shadow.
a shadow.
This marks the first time since 2020 that Phil predicted an early spring, and the 21st time since records were kept. Okay.
Well, let me.
What about that snow forecast next week?
How about April, or was it late March or April snowstorm
I'm
that
telling
we
you,
had?
I'm calling Les and having him call
Can
in
happen.
next week.
It has
Sure
happened.
can, yeah.
He's talking about mid-February being kind of messy, so I think Phil lied.
Well, maybe it's going to be early spring in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
called May.
June.
Well, maybe
July.
why I'm getting all those dandelions in my yard. Yeah, but breaking news, he did not see a shadow.
Well, that's good for him. Mike McHughes joined us.
Yes.
I saw my shadow this morning in Swansboro. Yeah,
Well, you got up after I did not. When I got up,
it's a beautiful sky. It's
Yeah,
nice,
I
nice
did not-
ride in here.
I did not see any of that.
Yeah,
I,
good.
I did not see a shadow because the sun
6
was
more
not
weeks
up when
in
I got
winter.
out.
6 more weeks of winter. I mean, that's what it is anyway, right? If you look at the calendar, when is it March 20th, 21st, somewhere around there? Yeah, so it's going to happen whether he sees a shadow or not.
Yeah, it's going to be winter time. It's just not. Hopefully, it won't be winter weather.
Yeah, we don't need that.
No.
It's not the fun winter weather we get here. It's nasty ice. Yeah.
Well, it's gonna warm up, and everybody's gonna get excited, and then we're gonna have a couple days of frigid air, and maybe a little bit of ice or something, and it's going to warm up.
We had 7 inches of snow in March of 1980 or 81 in Wilmington.
Well, we're due for a big one. What was the last big one? Was it 89 or 89 was the big one, right?
That was
it
the 15-inch
snowed, and then
15 official inches.
Didn't it snow? And then a week later, it snowed again.
I don't remember that part. It snowed for 3 days. I know that.
I remember
starting Christmas Eve.
The pictures from the Tideland News on Front Street in Swansboro. All the cars. It looked like Pennsylvania. I mean, you couldn't distinguish the cars from the buildings. It was just all covered with light snow.
I got pictures because I had a 4-wheel drive vehicle, of course, but I got pictures on the beach.
Yes.
At Carolina Beach, building a snow woman.
Yeah,
I learned a whole new vocabulary during that time because I was managing a post office at the time. It started snowing on Christmas Eve, and of course, we were closed Christmas Day. Came back the next day. They wouldn't let anybody out on the roads because here, especially in '89, there was no way to accommodate for what we got. And you talk about phone calls. I was so cursed out.
Oh.
What about rain, snow, sleet, and hail? And by the end of the day, I told this one caller, well, I just suggested what he could do with that motto because, for like 10 hours straight, I'm getting cussed. It was just, people went crazy.
I bet your newspaper was delivered. Those carriers always went out.
What are you trying to make this a contest?
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. If your newspapers wanted to take the chance,
they always took pride in that. I mean, you can you
I
can
have
talk
to
to
say,
Elliot
yeah.
Potter about that. Don Wilson, the old circulation, or Bobby Williams, the circulation director for about 30 years at the Daily News. They always took pride, and the paper always printed.
Right.
And it may have not all been delivered, but they always printed it through hurricanes.
Yes,
all that. That was always a big deal. That was probably more anticipated and challenged than
we could be waking up to lines down, trees down, still the wind heavy, and here's the newspaper.
And it may have printed somewhere else. It could have printed. They might have used one of their sister properties to print it, but they always were determined to get that newspaper out, even before they had the online edition. So. Anyway, guys, good to be here. Are we going to do weather, or are we jumping into?
No, weather's at 8:20.
We're going to do it again in honor of Groundhog Day, though.
We could do it
at
again.
8:20.
Did you know it's Groundhog Day?
It's February 2nd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always, Groundhog Day.
Something in my coffee.
Where I came from, we actually had groundhogs living, like in our yard and in the back alley and all that. But
did you ever have any groundhogs too?
No. But the point, you'd seen them on the side of the road, oftentimes, struck by vehicles. But they are cute little critters. But February always, it ushered in, Groundhog's Day, and then Fosnot Day was right behind it on the heels of Groundhog's Day. Fosnot Day. It has to do with
a northern thing, isn't it?
You get we get donuts. They bring donuts into the classroom. It was before Wednesday.
For that.
So the Pennsylvania Dutch, they were masters in the kitchen or bakery. I had like 3 bakeries around my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, the smell was just unbelievable. Bread bakery, a pretzel bakery, and a donut bakery.
If you hear any noise, it's my stomach growling.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be back, and we'll be talking coming up in 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's at the top of the hour. We have a guest coming in, Debbie Edwards. She owns Peak Ultrasound.
Peak Ultrasound.
Yeah, she's going to talk about that, and then about a nonprofit and a fundraisers that she's having for babies. So
she got a mobile ultrasound, right?
I believe that's what it's all about. She can come to your house and tell you
whether I'm pregnant or not.
Yes, right.
Okay, you're live and local, real talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM WSME, and we'll be right back.
Coming up on the next Goddard's Gold, it's the Beatles. 1964, celebrating 60-year anniversary of their first appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show. Want to hold your hand? I feel fine, and I love her. I'll cry instead. Twist and shout. She loves you, love you do. Beatles, 64, next Gold. Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here on Freedom 97.1 and 1120 a.m. WSME.
Have you gotten your copy of Topsail Times newspaper this week? If not, did you know that Topsail Times is Topsail area's only local newspaper in print? Started a little over a year ago, we now have over 1,500 online subscribers and 5,000 printed copies that go out every 2 weeks. And we never charge our readers. Information should be free to our readers, and we stick by that. Looking for an idea for date night? Want to learn some local history? How about asking a veterinarian about your pet? These things and more are available in each copy of the Topsail Times newspaper. Want to get the word out about your business? We offer great rates for full color ads, and the online paper version is always included for free. Need help designing the perfect ad? We can do that too. We're always looking for human interest stories, so start writing. And we love local photos too. Check out our website at topsailtimes.net, where you can find out where to pick up a copy or check out our latest publication online.
If your plans include hitting the road this year to do some traveling, make sure a visit to Silent Service Center is on your to-do list. Travel safety starts with the tires on your vehicle, and a visit to Silent Service Center will give you peace of mind with the best value in all name brand tires and the largest selection of used tires in this area. In addition to quality tires, Silent Service Center is a North Carolina inspection station and does complete brake service, oil changes, and alignment service. Silent Service Center, 1707 Lejeune Boulevard, Jacksonville, and 108 West Main Street, Havelock. Phone 910-353-4760.
Hello, shoppers. When you shop your locally owned and operated Piggly Wiggly store on the Richlands Highway, Jacksonville, and Main Street, Maysville, remember to sign up for Pig Sparks. You receive 1 point for every dollar spent on further purchases. Over in the meat department, T-bone steaks, just $7.99 a pound. Boneless strip loins, 99 cents a pound. Whole Ive round is only $3.99 a pound. Whole fresh picnic, $1.49 a pound. How about baby back pork ribs, just $2.49 a pound. Fresh fryer leg quarters, sold in a 10-pound bag, is only 49 cents a pound. And Butterball fresh ground turkey, 16-ounce package is only $3.99. And remember, the beef and pork is cut fresh every day by the butchers at your locally owned and operated Piggly Wiggly store, and they use only the finest and certified Angus beef and Sanderson's Farm chicken. Over in produce, how about a 10-pound bag of Idaho potatoes, just $2.99. County Gold cantaloupes, just $2.99 each. Nutritious blueberries, $3.99 a pint. Crisp green cabbage, just 79 cents a pound. Broccoli crowns are only $1.99 a pound. Large lemons, 69 cents each. And Western Honeycrisp apples, $1.99 a pound. And Western pears are also just $1.99 a pound. Remember to sign up for Pig Sparks, which means you get 1 point for every dollar you spend for further purchases. Remember also that you get 3 12-packs of Pepsi or Mountain Dew for just $14. That's your locally owned and operated Piggly Wiggly store over on the Richlands Highway, Jacksonville, and Main Street, Maysville. Remember, say big with the pig.
Freedom 97.1 WSME.
It's live and local real talk on Freedom 97.1 WSME.
Okay, we're back live in local real talk, and we have a special guest in the studio today. What are you doing?
Oh, I was showing.
Oh.
We're good here.
Okay,
show
Wait
and
a minute. We're playing with headphones.
Okay, all right.
All right, I'm gonna set
Do
this
the
one
honors.
up. Wait, mine's not. Oh, there it is. Here, you got it. Okay, we're good. Go right ahead.
You gonna do the honors?
Oh, yes. We have in the studio this morning Debbie Edwards. She owns Peak Ultrasound, and we were just talking off air about the things that she does. She's a traveling ultrasounder. She can go to like your house if you're having a baby shower and do an ultrasound right then and there and add to the excitement of the party.
Can you figure out what's wrong with my shoulder and neck up here?
No.
No, you can't do that. How you
I
doing?
mean, right now I can't, but we certainly can do an ultrasound on it.
Well, that's what I mean. You can do,
Yes.
so it's more than just for babies, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Ah, okay.
Ultrasound's more than just
See,
babies.
I told you.
What if you had like a kidney stone?
Yes, we could definitely see that.
Oh, this is getting interesting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I
So I
thought
mean,
they
you
had
could go to an old geezer's house or somebody who's looking at me.
Where's my
No, you could go to anybody's house for an ultrasound. I mean, it's not necessarily just for pregnancy. Then
That is correct. It's
did
not
not know that.
strictly
that's
pregnancy.
good. Yeah, it is good. I mean, I'm like him. Listen. Never ask a person over 60 how they're feeling. They'll spend all day telling you about it. So, because when he's talking about his shoulder ailment, then I have a shoulder impingement, and my knees are. So it's we're in that stage.
Ultrasounds pick up on things like arthritis?
No.
They cannot.
No.
Okay. I'm just curious. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, yeah.
All right. So, Debbie, how long have you been doing this?
So I've been doing ultrasound since 2015. I went to school out in California, in Los Angeles, and last year we started the 3D, 4D ultrasound here in January, exactly a year ago. So with Peak Ultrasounds, we've been open for a year.
So this is solely your business, right?
This is correct.
And so we'll get into how people can contact you. But like say, my granddaughter I'm not going to use my granddaughter. That kills me. Say I had a family member who was pregnant and we were having a baby shower, and we contracted you to come to the house there, and you could actually do an ultrasound right then and there.
That is correct.
Right. And everyone can see on your screen, and you could do gender reveals.
Yes, ma'am.
That
So
is
what
so
we
cool.
do,
Live gender reveal. That would
Yeah.
be cool.
so what we do, we actually connect to the TVs, or we do have a projection screen that we bring. So not only from my screen, but the whole group, all the guests can see what I'm seeing on my screen.
Oh, good.
This is probably a terrible question to ask, but
What you're going to ask anyway.
It's about your granddaughter.
no,
Okay.
she's 19. She better wait till she's 39. If you were, can you detect something that might not be quite right while you're doing an ultrasound?
I can. So because I did go to school, I know what I'm looking at. We have a certain protocol. And even though I'm there strictly to do the 3D and make it fun for our moms and our guests, I do take a look at everything. Before I go to the client's house, we do ask for medical information. So if they already have a established doctor, we have their contact. In case I do see something, I will reach out to the doctor with the images and let them know that this patient needs follow-up.
Do you give that information to the patient first?
No.
Okay.
Because I'm not a radiologist, so
Right.
I can't read the exam for them. But me sending it to the doctor can give them an idea of what's going on.
Okay. Now, other than for pregnancies and whatever, those are kind of like the fun things.
Yes.
But are there doctors that, if they request an ultrasound, can the patient then pick who he or she wants to do the ultrasound? Like, can they pick you, reach out to you?
So patients can do that. They have the option of choosing where to go. As of right now, we're not doing diagnostic scans, but it is in the works. We are trying to include general diagnostics, which would include liver, kidneys, vascular, thyroid, all that kind of stuff. So that's in the works right now.
Okay, good.
I think what I find so fascinating about it is that she can come to your home.
Yeah, I do. How big is this machine?
Laptop size.
Really?
Yes.
That's it?
That's it.
And you can hook up to the televisions in the house to project it on the TV screen for anybody who wanted to watch it.
Yes.
That is amazing.
Things
How
like
far-
blood clots in your legs or whatever.
Yes, we can
You
see
can
that.
see that.
Yes.
Oh, I'm getting scared now.
Did you bring that sucker with you?
I did not.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's interesting. So where are you located at?
We are located off of Bogue, but we travel. We've been up to Greenville. We've been out to Richlands, Wilmington. We travel quite a distance.
Okay, good.
That is so.
How can people reach you?
Yeah.
So we do have our website, peakultrasound.com. They can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, just by looking Peak Ultrasounds 3D, 4D mobile.
Mm-hmm.
And that would, just text message, email. They got me right there.
Okay. Let's take a quick 60-second break and do some news, Fox News, but we'll be back. I got more questions.
Yes,
You're
sir.
live and local. And by the way, folks, if you've got a question you would like to ask, ring us up. You can do it now, 910-333-0139. Debbie will be glad to take it on. You're live and local Real Talk, and we'll be back in about 60 seconds.
WSME, Camp Lejeune, W246CJ, Jacksonville.
Fox News, I'm Lillian Wu. A small plane crashes into a waterfront mobile home park in Clearwater, Florida.
We are working through right now the element of
trying to get to the hot spots, but also to try and get to fatalities. I can confirm that we have several fatalities, both from the aircraft and within the mobile home.
Clearwater Fire Chief Scott Ellers, investigators say the crash was due to engine failure. The January jobs report comes out this morning.
Economists are predicting that employers added 180,000 jobs last month after a larger than expected increase of 216,000 in December. The unemployment rate is forecast to inch up to 3.8% after holding at 3.7% for 2 months.
Fox's Hillary Barsky. And Punxsutawney Phil predicts an early spring. America's listening to Fox News.
It's live and local. Real talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME.
And we're back and in the studio with us.
Debbie
is
Edwards.
Debbie
yes.
Edwards and Chief Peak Ultrasound. Kind of an interesting name. The
Yes.
peak part.
Yes.
You get an advanced look about what's going to happen.
That's right.
Because,
Yeah, tell us about this Beach Baby Expo you have coming up.
Yeah, so Beach Baby Expo is an expo that I decided to create. And it's focused on pregnancies, newborn babies. We're going to have professionals come in, like lactation consultants. We're going to have the North Carolina Medicaid coming in as well. And it's just going to be geared towards family to help, first-time parents, 10th-time parent. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be on February 17th from 10 to 2 at the Emerald Isle Recreation Center.
Yeah, I was just looking at your website here. You've got dazzling magic shows to capture the imagination of kids and adults, whimsical balloon animals, a showcase of talented local crafters and small businesses, 3D and 4D ultrasounds on site to capture precious moments of your growing baby, a variety of delicious food and snacks, prizes and giveaways to celebrate the joy of parenthood. So,
what kind of food? Let's just get down to the
We're going to
basics
have
here.
Mexican food coming in.
Oh.
Yeah, De La Rosa Antojitos. She's coming in, and her food is delicious. It's all freshly prepared there. She'll be our only food vendor. We other vendors with snacks and macaroons and cookies, but
now the most important part about this expo is the fact that it's free.
yes, it is completely
So
free
this
to our
is
guests.
something, especially these mothers out there, mothers to be, take note. And once again, where's it going to be at?
At the Emerald Isle Recreation Center.
Okay, and that's 203 Leisure Lane, Emerald Isle, North Carolina. And that's on your website too, which I just posted on our Facebook page and our
Yes.
YouTube. So very good.
That's interesting. And, you have it at the bottom of the website here. We would say that's burying the lead. I put that right at the top. It's free admission.
Yes.
But kind of getting back to that, as far
Yes.
as the free part, as far as the business itself goes, you help people in the community. I mean, there's a charge for your service, but you know that pregnancies, and we'll talk about pregnancies, not old guys like me and Rayford here for stuff, but it spans all socioeconomical, people in the community.
Yes.
Do you give any breaks in price or services for people who maybe, kind of just getting off their
Low
feet, or
income.
low income, or people even like military families around the community?
We absolutely do. That's one of our biggest missions is to be there for everybody, not just a certain group that can't afford it. So we do like to, any mother or family that's receiving any kind of government assistance, we will give them a discount. Our military families, we're big on military. We love our military. So military families get a discount. Now, if we have a mom whose husband is deployed, and, bring paperwork and everything to prove, we will give them a really big discount, almost free, basically.
Nice.
Yeah. So we do offer that.
Very nice.
I imagine that would be a great thing. You're deployed and, your wife is pregnant, but you don't know what you got, right?
Yes.
And then you can see it.
Yes.
Do you give them a CD or a flash drive or anything with these images?
Yeah. So what we do is that we have an online link that we create a private gallery for each
okay.
client. And for our moms that have deployed husbands, we give them a flash drive with all the images so it can be shipped out to the dad.
Okay, that's cool.
This is genius, really.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever had a situation like when you go to the woman's house and you're doing the ultrasound? Can you zoom in like her husband, who may be military overseas, and he can watch at the same time?
We absolutely do. We offer
That's so cool.
We offer live stream, and it's absolutely free for anybody who would like to use that service.
Oh, that is awesome.
So he could gather all his buddies around and
Yes.
sitting there in a rack, and then
That's
everybody
right.
could watch at the same time.
Yes.
That's nice.
That's pretty cool.
It is nice.
I've never heard of a service like this.
I know. I've never had it either. And then when you had mentioned it, because you came across it, and then we've been talking back and forth.
Yeah.
And, you know, we had some issues in the beginning because her whole family went through sickness one at a time, didn't they?
Yes.
And I was like, just get well. We're still here. But yeah. And so I started checking into the website, et cetera. And I found it very interesting. But I think it's pretty cool. It's the direction our world is going to now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we got groceries delivered at home, and now you can have an ultrasound done in your living room while you're waiting for Walmart groceries. So I
That's
think it's
right.
pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Okay. So any other services that you guys are offering or anything?
So right now we do have a giving closet. So for families that are in need, they don't have to be a client of mine, just anybody that needs it. We do have gently used baby clothes or new clothes that I get donated to. And we make packages for families that, you know, need some extra help.
Babies outgrow their clothes very quickly.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Onesie today, you got to buy a 2X tomorrow
Mhm.
or
Yes.
whatever. So
Well, I find it all very fascinating
too.
that, you know, she could just roll up and bring in her laptop and do an ultrasound. It's pretty cool.
find out all sorts of good stuff. So when are you going to be able to do some of the diagnostics?
We're hoping that no later than probably mid-year we'll be
Okay.
able to add that to our services.
Okay.
And I mean, I'll be going to the doctor's office offering it, but that's also going to the patient's homes because sometimes they can't get up, they can't get a ride. You know,
Yes.
so I want to make that easier on our patients.
Sure. I guess you've got a list of names of doctors and
I do. I have a couple of doctors that I've, you know, come across that I would like to work with. But yeah, I'm open to traveling just about almost anywhere.
Okay, gotcha.
What's the furthest you've traveled to?
I would think Greenville. Greenville has probably been the
Well, from
furthest.
Boga, that is a
Yeah.
trip.
It's about an hour, 45
Eastern North
minutes.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Yep, Jacksonville to Greenville.
Right, right. That's very interesting.
Well, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
We got to stay in touch because
Yes.
you know, from time to time, I do have to get an ultrasound, and you know, the scans and stuff like that around here these days is pretty hard to get.
Yes.
So it's. Did you know that?
Yes,
You
yes.
can't. You can't just go run down to the hospital, and a lot of clinics have closed up.
They're
that were
way
offering
booked
them.
out. Way booked
And they're
out.
way booked out.
So,
Okay.
but if he was to use you to do an ultrasound, say concerning like a kidney stone or something, can you take that and send it to his doctor?
I can.
Yeah. See,
So I already
Yeah.
do have a radiologist lined up. I do already have somebody that I can send my images to, have them read, and those the report will be sent to the doctor, to the patient, and to myself.
That's good.
there you go.
So we got somebody on staff ready to do it. That's
We
good.
have our card.
Debbie, thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thanks
you.
for coming in.
Very
Great.
interesting.
It was an interesting story all the way through.
Yes.
Thank you.
I like it. Yeah. And you have my number and my email.
do.
So just keep up with me.
I will do. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank
Thank you.
Let's take a break. You're live in local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m., WSME, and we'll be right back.
All right, here we go to this Rick D's, and don't forget about Sports Talk with Chris Rayner, Friday mornings at 9 a.m. Great interviews, the latest in local, college, and pro sports. Chris Rayner is number one. Find Chris right here on Freedom 97.1 and 1120 a.m. WSME.
Welcome to Lane & Associates Family Dentistry, where we love to make you smile. Now proud to be working with Doctors Kim and Tommy Morgan, formerly Morgan Family Dentistry. The Jacksonville and Richlands Morgan offices of Lane & Associates Family Dentistry blends the latest technology with personal care and attention, so you have an amazing dental experience. The offices of Lane & Associates welcome all ages and accepts all major insurances, including military. Lane & Associates Family Dentistry has been serving the state of North Carolina for over 40 years, with 2 locations in Jacksonville, Richlands, and Maysville. Call for an appointment today at 877-LANE-DDS or online at lanedds.com. Welcome to Lane & Associates Family Dentistry.
Tammy Fry Allstate Swansboro reminds you to check your mailbox and find your quote on homeowners insurance. Tammy Fry Allstate Swansboro goes the extra mile to make sure you're in good hands, like helping you customize your home and windstorm coverage with their Write Your Own home policy. Yes, save even more when you bundle your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, and even your golf cart. Remember, if it rolls or floats, call Tammy for a quote. You and everything you own are in good hands with Tammy Fry Allstate Swansboro. Call today, 910-326-5383. Tammy Fry Allstate, 638 West Corbett Avenue in the friendly city by the sea, Swansboro. Check your mailbox today for savings on your homeowner's insurance.
Mohawk All Pet Protection and Warranty is the only cover protection and warranty for all pets, all accidents, all the time. Because your pets are family members too. No matter how you live, we've got you covered. Soft, luxurious, smart strand forever clean carpet. Gorgeous, durable, Solidtech luxury vinyl tile. Mohawk has the ultimate floor for every room in your home that's suitable for all pets. For details, contact Watkins Floor Covering online at watkinsnewfloor.com. Watkins Floor Covering, thanking you for voting them the best of the best for 2023 in the flooring covering and carpet cleaning category. Watkins Floor Covering, they're more than just floors. It's custom showers, custom tubs, carpet cleaning, backsplashes, bathrooms, commercial, retail, and home flooring too. Watkins Floor Covering, family owned and operated since 1997 with locations in Jacksonville and Surf City. Watkins Floor Covering, you stand on it, we stand behind it.
It's live and local. Real talk on Freedom 97.1 WSME.
And we're back. What an interesting story. That's pretty cool.
That's neat. I mean, that's the way things are going now. Right?
Yes,
you said about groceries being delivered, but everything is, come to me. Come to me. Yeah.
So that's I got no problem with that. The groceries being delivered or whatever.
Yeah.
I think this is her phone. Let me race it. I'll get it. You stay here, Race.
Okay.
You're the talent, Lee. Hold on.
We gotta chase somebody down.
Chase somebody
They lost
down.
their phone.
Yes. Left a phone. They'd get halfway there and go, oh no.
And then they say, oh, I've got a call. Oh, I can't call home.
And then we were joined by 2 little rascals.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I hope Jake's not outside.
No, I don't think so. I checked.
That's good.
But yeah, he's right there. Good. All right.
Okay. So one of the things that, we have so many callers and so many other individuals, and I hear about it all the time. And Theo is a major advocate of term limits, right?
Yes.
Wants term limits. Term limits have been discussed for decades among voters and elected officials, leading many to question whether the possibility of such a change to the American political landscape could ever reach fruition. Last September, a poll found that a majority of adults, 87% of us, favored limits on the number of terms each member of Congress is allowed to serve. The Pew Research Center also found that term limits are almost equally popular among both Republicans and Democrats. Among those who were surveyed, 90% of Republicans and Republican-leaning independents said they supported them. Democrats and Democrat-leaning voters largely agreed, with 86% giving the nod to limits on how long a lawmaker can serve in either body of Congress. Despite the polling data, a measure introduced last year by Representative Ralph Norman, a Republican out of South Carolina, was killed by the House committee it was referred to, preventing it from making it to the full House for a vote. Let me ask you a question. When a survey shows that 86 to 90% of all surveyed Republican, Independents, and Democrats support term limits, but then the committee kills it, what's wrong?
They're not listening to the people. If that survey is accurate and it's
the Pew Research Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
I think most people would tell you they believe in term limits.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that we have had some of our electeds in office for a very, very long time.
Mhm.
And maybe it's time for them to retire and put new blood in there. But then again, I know a few that have been there for a long time and they've always done excellent. They've done right for us. So I look at it both ways.
But you got to have a one size fits all somehow or another.
Yes.
It's going to have to apply to everybody. You can't just say, okay, well, this guy's doing good, so we'll keep him.
Oh, I agree.
I've always said that, they all have term limits. For the Senate is 6 years, and for the Congress, for House of Representatives is 2 years.
Right.
However, we all really, those who follow politics, know that if you're in office, you're much more likely to stay in office until you quit.
Very hard to take an incumbent out.
And they have so much power once they're in, as far as reelection goes.
Yes.
They have all the wheels of their office and the government behind them. And then at the federal level in Congress, both Senate and House, they have the franking privilege, so they can shoot out mail. Not from the election committee, mind you, of course not, but from the office. But they're still contacting Rayford Brown on a regular basis if they choose to use that method.
Yeah, and they do it.
I always thought though the ballot box was where the term limits would. If the voters get engaged and come out.
But the if
I know,
that's the
and
biggest word in the English language.
And it's some of the biggest frustrations after you look at an election. Who sat out? Right? You look at the turnout, and it's like this was whatever race you're talking about, or whatever election cycle. It was talked about. Everybody was energized about it, and you look at like maybe 40% of the people are elected or eligible voters sat out. And with all the time you have for early voting nowadays. Look at North Carolina. We have early voting starting February 15th. It starts in a couple of days, basically 13
it's like
days.
a month long.
Till practically. Well, if you add the mail in, it is. If you add the mail in, you tell me
it's already started.
Yeah, and I think one of the candidates, I believe it was Representative George Cleveland, talking at the Friday forum last Friday, said about the amount of time that is given or allocated to early voting should be reduced.
I agree with that.
I mean, look, in Onslow County for the upcoming early voting, I believe there's 5 sites, including the Board of Elections. We have one out in Swansboro at the Rec Center. Sneads Ferry has one, Richlands has one, the Commons, and then down in Georgetown, and then out in Swansboro.
And it doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter where you're registered to vote.
That's right.
If I happen to be in Georgetown on a particular day, you can pop in there and do your voting there. If
you've got business somewhere else, or you're passing through, going from point A to point B, just stop in and
stop it. Now, election day, different story. You got to go where your precinct is.
I have worked the polls before during primaries and during early voting, and you can be out there all day long and count the number of people that came to vote on 2 hands.
Yeah. The first day of early voting is big, maybe the second day, and then the first weekend. And then, like you said, the poll workers are just standing there for the next week or two. And then that last rush on Friday or Saturday before they shut down.
You go into the polls and you've got all these workers, which they're required to have a certain amount.
But you have to wake them up.
You have all these workers that have nothing to do, and we're paying for that. And I really do think reducing, or if you're going to reduce it at least 1 week, or less, but 1 week, not 14 days.
Yeah. As a little kid, I remember going with my parents to vote, and guess what? This is Pennsylvania. I know it's different, but one day.
Yeah,
it was 1 day voting.
Well, I voted on those 1 days many times. In fact, when Reagan, it still had 1 day voting.
Right.
And when because I got off at 6 o'clock, got off out of the TV station at 6:30.
Yeah,
it's normal policy, and I had an hour to get there, and I got there.
Yeah,
it was 10 o'clock before I voted.
Right.
Well, just so
I wasn't the last in line when I got there.
Yeah. It's a shame because back to the voter turnout and voter apathy. I guarantee you there will be more Americans tuning in or planning a Super Bowl party and watching the game than there will be Americans who are registered to vote that go out to the polls during the mail-in period, the early voting period, or the day of. It's sad.
It is
because it's one of the most important things you do as a citizen, and it's probably one of the most easiest things to do as a resident of your particular community.
Yeah.
Well,
Sad.
just so we make it clear, the local board of elections are not the ones that set up these dates.
Nope.
You know, they
No.
have to follow what the state does. So
Right.
just want to make that clear because no way am I saying anything about them.
No.
I mean, I'm glad we have the early voting. I mean, if you're going to do early voting, I'm glad at least they spread it out throughout
Yes.
the county.
Yes.
It was not like that for the municipals last year because it was just the Board of Elections, I believe, was the early voting
Really?
site.
Nobody came out to
So
vote.
who's going to come from Swansboro, for that matter, even Richmond or Sneeds Ferry, up to Georgetown for a municipal, to cast a vote in a municipal
Yeah, I
race?
went on election day and cast my vote. When I walked in, there was no one there.
You know, it's really strange.
No.
And I had a conversation with Jason Dedman about this at the municipal race in Swansboro. We had commissioner candidates, and somebody had called me at the chamber office asking where they go to vote. And I immediately said, you go to the Rotary, the Swansboro Rotary Center, because that's where the election site is for early voting and for day of. And I gave this person bad information. I only learned that on the night of the election when I was looking at the returns. This person lives in a subdivision that is not contiguous to Swansboro, but it is part of Swansboro. They live across Queens Creek, so they live in Bear Creek,
Right.
So their their polling place is the Onslow County. It's now Onslow County. It was the Bear Creek fire station. The volunteer was volunteer. Now it's part of the county. They set up an entire polling place there for the municipal. And you want to guess who the top vote getter there was? Bill Justice, who would eventually win. He got 6 votes. The next person got 5 votes, and then it was on down there. So a handful of people came out there, and I said, "That's ridiculous. Why don't you just consolidate it to the one voting site, the Rotary?" But the amount of money and expense and effort they have to do to notify everybody in Swansboro, they had to send mail to everybody in Swansboro to notify them that this would no longer be a polling place. You got to go to the Rotary. We're talking a distance of maybe a mile and change.
Yeah.
From that neighborhood, go across Queens Creek Bridge over to the Rotary. But nonetheless, they opened up 2 voting sites for a handful of people to go on a municipal race, and that's a polling place that's used during what we have coming up here for the general election on March 5th. I keep wanting to say May, but March 5th.
Okay, now that polling place you're talking about, that's not inside the city limits of Swansboro.
No, it's in the county. It's on Bear Creek Road.
Why? How could they vote in the municipal elections?
They set it up there.
Why?
Because the neighborhood is
some of the
Swansboro.
neighborhood
It's a
is
satellite.
in the city.
Oh, okay.
It's a satellite neighborhood. Yeah.
Right.
It's one of these new neighborhoods that was cut about 5-10 years ago. You cross Queens Creek Bridge, you go past the Odom junkyard, and it's on the left hand side once you pass that.
Wow.
Yeah, they got annexed in because there was sewage that was coming through from the old Tierra yachts. It's been named everything since then.
That's
Armstrong.
like the Surf City situation.
Yeah. So, but the lesson learned there is don't assume and look at the I'll give you the Onslow County Board of Elections and the state board has a pretty easy website to navigate if you want to find out. And this is the time to do it before you schlep to the polls and realize you're not either registered or you're at the wrong place.
Yeah.
But you merely put your name in there.
Yeah. Voter search.
And it'll voter search. Voter search. You do it probably oftentimes, just like I do too. Yeah. It's a good tool. But I in fact I looked at mine the other night just to see, and sure enough, since I arrived here in Onslow County and officially in 2001, I voted every election that I was eligible to vote for. I live in an unincorporated area, so I'm not municipal in the town of Swansboro.
I missed one in 2022.
I don't think I missed any.
Well, we kept trying to tell you.
And when I was working with the paper, oftentimes we'd go out to do coverage of first day voting, whether it be for early voting or day of. And I always said to myself, I'm going to wait till election day.
So did I.
And you get sucked in. You're there. You are. I never could wait till. I don't know if I've ever voted on election day. I've always gone early when it's offered.
I have voted on election day, but I will not anymore.
Yes, when you had a medical emergency.
I was in the hospital on
Oh,
election day, and that would just fried me.
Yeah. So you missed your vote altogether.
Yeah.
See,
they wouldn't let me come home to do it either.
Wow.
No, if I had been thinking, we could have gotten him a ballot.
I looked at the. I don't know if you guys
Jason
had checked
would have
out
done it.
the what the sample ballot. I looked at the sample ballot the other
I
day.
did too.
And all of these presidential candidates that we've heard about and dropped out, they're all on there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's confusing to the person, I think, that isn't following, the news, and they're going to walk in there and they're expecting probably just, I mean, they're probably just thinking they're going to see Nikki Haley and Donald Trump as presidential choices.
Nope.
They're all on there.
DeSantis,
Yeah, they're
all
on
of them on
And
there.
you wonder how many people.
They're going to vote. There are going to be people. You can rest assured DeSantis is going to get a lot of votes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you got to know your way through the ballot. Like the gentleman you had talking earlier this morning, the candidate for auditor, he'll be above all of the people that the commissioners, the
Right.
Board of Education, because they're at the county
They
level.
start with the
they're at
state
top.
for council of
Yeah.
state first.
So they're all on there. But
You got to go through a whole page of that.
It's 2 pages for the Republican
yeah.
primary. It's facing back.
You got all the
front.
judges and justices.
They better be
for the
bigger
state.
pens this year. You need a lot of ink.
They need to last more than one use.
A lot of ink. Are we going to a break? Or are we going to?
Oh, we're going to do a little bit of weather. Down the Tie-Line Marine, they don't put a lot of faith in that little groundhog.
Rodent.
No, rat.
Rodent.
They rely on the National Weather Service. Of course, here in Jacksonville, local boaters know that when the ospreys, those birds, not the aircraft, when they start nesting, spring is upon us. So that will be in not too distant future. So that's what we always pay attention to. If you're a boater, pay attention. It is February. It's time to start planning to get your boats into Tideline to make sure they are spring ready. Otherwise, if you wait very much longer, you're going to find yourself at a very long line of boaters who heeded the warning. If it's just a routine annual servicing, the wait time is not very long right now. But if there was an issue when you last used your boat, probably last Labor Day, 9 months ago, maybe last year sometime, I'm betting that it did not get healed by itself during the winter months. That will take a little longer to fix. Might have to order parts. Who knows? As Tideline Marine continues to remind folks, the sooner you get your boat in, the sooner it will be ready for a fun boating season. Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. Offshore today, winds out of the west, 10 to 15 knots, seas 3 to 5, 2 to 3 near shore. Dominant period 7 seconds. Not bad. Sounds and rivers, a moderate chop. Tomorrow, northerly winds 15 to 20 with gusts to 35, much more worse. Diminishing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon, seas 3 to 5 feet. Dominant period 4 seconds. That means those waves are really close together, big and close together. Sounds and rivers a little bumpy. And on Sunday, better. Northeasterly winds around 10 knots, seas 2 to 3. Sounds and rivers only a light chop.
And today will be mostly sunny with a high near 64. Light west wind becoming northwest, 5 to 9 miles per hour in the morning. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 35. Saturday, sunny with a high near 53. North wind 7 to 9. Saturday night, clear with a low around 30. And Sunday, sunny with a high near 56.
Nice.
Nice.
Not bad at all.
That's
not
nice.
bad at all.
That's nice.
We can put up with that.
Yes. I agree.
I learned something on this show every time I come on or I listen to you guys in the morning. The harbinger of fall, I've always learned since living here for 23 years, is the yellow sulfur, the butterflies.
Right.
Typically, you see them fluttering around the middle of August, and it's like, it's getting close. Or September, maybe. It's
September, usually.
Yeah, middle of September. It's getting close. The cool weather. I never knew about the osprey, though. And we have a lot of osprey where I live out in the Hammocks Beach.
Yeah,
Park
going
area.
downriver
nice.
from Jacksonville, there's a big osprey nest on the left side of the banks.
Yep.
And there's a big nest there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm going down, and as soon as I see there's a little head up there, I say, spring is here.
Yeah.
Because they get ready to lay some eggs.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's so cool going up and down the river over the next few weeks. You'll see more heads in there.
Yep. Yeah.
You'll
They're
see
beautiful birds.
Oh, they are gorgeous
Beautiful
birds.
We have a beautiful nest at the Walmart in Swansboro near the baseball fields for Swansboro.
Oh, is that right?
And then behind Burrito Shack, by the Rotary, there's a big nest. And then out in my neighborhood by Hammocks Beach State Park, we have one or several. My wife yesterday, she was out on the White Oak River off the Loop Road, and she was dumping some manure in the field. She has a horse, and looked up, and there was a bald eagle flying over top.
Oh,
of her.
really?
Yeah. So it must be nesting somewhere. I'm guessing somewhere on the White Oak. The White Oak. Yeah. So it goes to show you the health of the rivers around here, Rayford, and you've seen both.
Oh, yes.
Both sides of it. You've seen the
bad
and the good. And I think we're in the in the good getting better stage with our waterways around the area.
Thanks to all of the efforts of those to clean up the rivers,
Yeah.
clean up Wilson Bay and everything else.
It's taken decades, right?
Yes, it has.
Yeah, it's taken
Because
decades.
it was nasty one time.
I bet it was. It was pristine at one time, and then it just degraded. And now
Yeah,
we're-
I've started dumping garbage in the river.
Yeah.
You see the name of this, right?
What are you doing?
You know what this is?
The osprey.
It's an osprey.
It's a reel.
It's a fishing reel.
Fishing reel.
Oh,
I'm going to join the baseball team so I can get a home run.
First home
and
run.
win it.
Well, I had a home game.
Yeah.
Whoever hits the first home run gets this.
Nice.
And that rod to go with it, courtesy
Yes,
of us.
that's a
Well,
beautiful
who
reel.
gets it? The player that
The
hit
player.
Oh, okay.
The first osprey player.
The first osprey player.
Mhm.
Nice.
That is a beautiful
These are nice
reel.
reels.
Yeah, very lightweight.
And that's a real high-end rod.
Right.
Super.
So
that's an incentive right there.
yes, it is.
Because
I'd be
go up to the
taking
plate-
out-
go up to the plate swinging, huh?
I'd be taking out everybody on the boat with that rod. It's so long. I'd be like whipping it around.
Are you going to
and-
be at the games waiting to present, or how's that going to work?
We'll have to see. I
Yeah.
can't get to every game.
Yeah. Well, there's 25. I think there's 25 home games.
Yes,
24,
something like that.
25 home games. That'll be
I know
nice.
where I'll be too for
That'll be-
all of them.
That'll be starting
Right
yeah.
there.
I've talked with one of their chamber members, the Jacksonville
Right.
Ospreys,
Yes.
and their chief marketing officer, Jairus Hill.
Mhm.
Is a good friend of mine. He stops in quite a bit. He's a very interesting young man.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that baseball season.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Oh, so
Should be
looking
fun.
forward to it.
Now, you got something coming up.
Yeah, speaking of sports,
Yes.
the
Boxing.
No, yeah,
Wrestling,
Wrestling,
WWE.
That's right. That's
Wrestling.
right. We have 2 nights of candidate forums coming up in Swansboro next week, Monday and Wednesday, and they're at Swansboro Town Hall. Doors open at 5:30. It's free to the public, of course, free to the media as well too. The candidates will start their forums at 6:00 each evening. On Monday, we're going to begin the program with the House 14 candidates, and I think Debbie took my program here. I noticed I came in with 3. Is it?
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Oh.
I did. That's all right. So we have the House candidates for it's all Republicans because they're the contested races.
There's the only contested races. right?
So we have Representative George Cleveland and Wyatt Gable, the challenger. And they both squared off in Jacksonville last Friday at the Jacksonville
It was a
Onslow.
good one.
That was yeah. I think of the 3, I
That was
enjoyed
the
that one the
best.
most. While I didn't see it in person like I did the other 2,
Right.
I did watch it on G10, and I'll tell you, George Cleveland. We've known George here. I think he's going into it would be his 10th term, I believe, or it's somewhere close to
He's
that.
either in his 10th
Yes.
term or his 10th term
They're
coming up.
2-year terms. The challenger, Wyatt Gable, is a junior at ECU.
That's correct.
21-year-old young man from Jacksonville.
I was
And,
impressed.
I
with
was
him.
I was impressed, and people I've talked to afterwards were very impressed. The young man has a lot of poise.
Yes.
He is, I believe, he seems to be grounded, and spoke extemporaneous. I don't think he had any script in front of him.
No.
And both his opening and closing was very impressive, and the answers that he gave to the questions posed by Glenn Hargett and Elliot Potter, the 2 moderators, he had his convictions.
Yes.
And
very
and
precise.
it was nice too. Both candidates, and I think this was pretty true for all 3 of the forums that took place last Friday. There was no sniping or bickering,
Yeah.
and in races past with the state house, they have
Yes,
sniped at Representative Cleveland on a myriad of topics, including his, how conservative is he? It's pretty hard to get more to the, the right side of George as a conservative.
Yes, I
And
agree
then
with that.
I don't know if age was ever brought up, but in this case, nothing was ever. They were respectful to one another. And no, the challenger didn't go at any ad hominem attacks, and really nor on policy. He stated what he believes in as far as governance and the different topics. I think they fielded 18 questions from Elliot and Glenn. We drafted the questions yesterday for all 3 of the forums, and in that case, because there's only two candidates that'll be up there, we have about 12 or so, a dozen or so questions.
Okay.
The way we operate in Swansboro, we allow the audience to write questions and submit them to us during the program, and if they're suitable, they haven't been used, or they are going to be used by what we've written, we may present those to the candidates. In any event, if anybody does submit a question, regardless if they're asked that night or not, I'll put them up on our Facebook page the following day to give citizens a chance to see this is a question asked by somebody in the audience, and then the candidates can come in and make comments that way. So Monday, February 5th, we'll kick off with the House 14 candidates, followed by the Board of Education candidates. And that's a big group. That's 9. The commissioners are 10, I believe, right? There's 9.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
And they're
10.
vying for 4 seats on the Board of Education. I'm going to get my math right here.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. So they have all committed to come out to Swansboro. And I anticipate that forum probably to go till about 8:30. They posed 6 questions in Jacksonville, and they took all their allotted time.
Sure.
They're a lot of time. Then Wednesday, it'll just be the Onslow County Commissioners. Same venue, the
6
Swansboro
o'clock.
Town Hall, 6 o'clock they start. I anticipate that to go to about 8 o'clock. We've prepared about a half dozen questions for the commissioners and Board of Education. And like I said, if the audience has a question, they can put it in the fishbowl, and we'll see if it's appropriate to ask. I had a question asked to me by one of the participants for the commissioners forum. If we target, I don't think target was the right word, but do we target? Yeah, we do. Do we target any specific candidate with a question? We don't. It's a question that is appropriate for all to answer. It's not
Okay.
just like, hey, you voted on this back in 2022 and blah blah blah. We don't do
You're
that.
just going
It's general.
around issues.
It's issues. Yeah, it's issues. And what I want to hear is what I want the candidate to say. This is what I believe. This is what, if they're an incumbent, this is what I did, and this is why I did it. So we have questions like that, and I think that you'll find these questions, while they're on similar topics that was expressed back last week with Jacksonville Onslow, and they did a great job. Lorette and her team and Elliot did a great team, and the town of Jacksonville putting up that, giving that venue and the G10. It's fantastic. While we'll have similar topics, our questions are going to be are scripted a little bit differently. So we'll see. Trying to get a different response.
Sure.
And it's challenging because you start with one candidate on a particular question, and there's 8 more to go or 9 more to go. Well, by the time you get to 7, 8, and 9, they may have heard all of the different types of options. So we're just trying to make it so that it gets that it's personal to that individual, and they have their chance to respond. One thing we're going to add into our program this time that I copy and pasted from the Jacksonville program. I like the rebuttal card. I like the opportunity for the candidate, if they hear something and it's not their turn to speak or they've already spoken, to amplify their position on something that has been said. So they do that with Jacksonville, and I was surprised, Lee, that not everybody took advantage of
very
the
few.
rebuttal cards. I thought they would have all used them. It's almost like in
Right.
football timeouts. You just don't take them into the locker room. Use them.
How many
challenge flags.
rebuttals are you going to give them?
One.
Just one time?
Yeah. Do you think that's enough? I think it is. I mean, we're in a time constraint because we have
That's
so
true,
many
because
people.
you have so many people.
Yeah. And if it was just like the house candidates, I don't think they used any rebuttals because they had so much time.
Right,
And
right,
oftentimes you found that they didn't even use their allotted 60 seconds per
It's true.
question. So
Yeah, there wasn't much use at the chamber forum that we had last week.
I think on school board, I know Melissa Oakley
Yes,
presented a
she
card.
did.
I don't remember anybody
I
else. There
think
was
she was the only one.
Robin, Commissioner
Robin
Knapp,
did
Commissioner
several
Knapp,
times. He
Mayor,
tried for
Mayor
a few
Davis
more.
tried on the close. He couldn't get it in there.
Elliot
So yeah,
had to shut Robin down.
yeah, they weren't. No, but it was, again,
No,
it was very
very good.
professional. It was very
It was.
cordial, and
Right.
Glenn and Elliot. There were a couple folks that went over a little bit.
Yes.
And that happens.
It does.
It's hard. I mean, we're giving our candidates a minute and 90 seconds, a minute and a half to answer. They don't have to use it all, as we saw with the House candidates. Oftentimes they didn't, but I think people feel a little rushed and they talk so fast.
Yeah. Right.
So it's hard for the person watching or the person in the audience listening to comprehend what they're saying. So, this gives them a little bit more time to breathe, relax, and then express their, sentiment about the particular question.
Do you have a clock up there that
We
they can
do.
see?
Yeah. We'll have a clock. We always had a clock. And in Swansboro, we have a very nasty, loud cowbell. If you go over the allotted time,
I remember
my deputy
that.
director, Susan Cummings, will activate the cowbell. It's a manual.
Now, as far as your questions coming from the fishbowl, now you're going to have somebody that's going to
Vet them. Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
and are you going to allow candidate to be targeted?
No, no.
Oh, so you're not going to do
Yeah, and I
that?
had that
Okay.
I had that situation in the municipal forums.
Yes.
It was targeted towards one specific candidate, and
Usually
we
it's a
we
setup.
actually we took that question, and while we used it, I won't softening is not the right word, but we redrafted it so that it was appropriate for all to answer,
Right, right.
rather than just being targeted towards one.
Now, questions from the fishbowl. So they will be given to that same question. Each candidate will be able to address that question.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, just as if you had written it,
right,
right.
exactly. No, so
Okay.
again, because it's not targeted. So we
Right.
wouldn't if we have 9 candidates up there. It's not going to be targeted to one or two or to the challengers versus the
Right.
incumbents. No, it's
Are you going to have food trucks out there?
we have such wonderful restaurants in Swansboro, Lee, that it's not necessary.
Well, no, you have to
we're a
leave and
quick
go and
stroll
come
away.
back.
Some of your biggest advertisers on this show are a stone's throw away.
Because our chamber, it was a long day, and
It was
I
a
was
long
like,
day, yeah.
it wasn't long enough between to really go out and get something to eat. I was like, a food truck would have
But
been nice.
it's important. It's important,
Right.
and
you can call in a
could've-
pizza,
I
or you
could've
can call
gotten-
in something.
You could
have
do a
them bring it
DoorDash.
by.
Maybe my favorite Uber driver to bring me lunch.
Talk to DoorDash. They're
Probably
chambers
could've
of
done.
or they're members of the Chamber of
Oh, I've
Commerce.
seen people do that.
Yeah, sure.
DoorDash to the commissioners meeting.
But this is outside of. I think there's a Republican men's club. Have they
Yes.
met yet for a forum? I think that's coming up.
They were my understanding, and this is what I was just told. They were going to have a debate, but I don't think there was enough interest in it because trying to make sure everybody's available.
Sure.
It's really hard
Yeah.
on a particular time of night, and so I think what they're doing now is they're inviting the candidates to do a Zoom with them or whatever, do a podcast with
Okay,
them.
well, that's
So,
something.
yes, they
But really,
are.
this is outside of the Jacksonville Chamber and our chamber. This is really
Right.
the citizens' only chance to see the candidates in person,
Yeah,
all
exactly.
together.
Right.
Yes.
And I think we're
I
gonna.
think that's good.
I think it's great, and I think we're gonna have everybody there on all 3 of the lists. For the commissioners in Jacksonville, we missed candidate John Young.
Yeah, John
and I
Young,
think he
yes.
might. He's an officer with North Topsail Beach.
Yeah, he's a
and I
police
think he might have been on
officer
call
there, yes.
on duty that day. So
Well, is he going to be at the Swansboro?
yes, yeah, he contacted me, he reached out to me, and he will be there. So it'd be good to see him and listen to his
'Cause
answers to
I
our
don't
questions.
think they even mentioned him as to why he was not there.
Well, I was
at the
talking. I was
forum.
talking with. I believe I was talking with. I know I was talking with the sheriff.
Right.
And he said I believe he might be on duty today.
Yeah.
So anyway, that happens because their
It's a
event
small
was
town too, and it's not easy
Sure.
to get somebody to replace
their
you.
event was in the daytime.
Right.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
remember
That's
it was-
right. That's
it was
right.
11 or 10 o'clock, and then again at 1 o'clock. So
Mhm.
we do ours in the evening. So hopefully people will be able to come out to attend. It's Monday, February 5th in Swansboro at the town hall. And then on Wednesday, February 7th, the times are 5:30. The doors open. That's a chance for you to just meet and greet the candidates. And then 6 o'clock,
No,
we'll
the
do
one on
kickoff.
February 5th, the starts at 7.
Well, the 6 is for the house. We're going to do House 14 first.
Oh, that's right. I don't have that
And
paper.
then
Okay.
we'll when they clear the dais,
All
we'll
right.
we'll line up the Board of Education.
Well, I shared it on our social
Good,
media,
thank you.
so
Yep, so come on
people
out.
can go look.
Come on out and learn about your candidates.
All right, let's take a quick break. You're live and local Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME. We'll be right back.
If you plan to rebuild, remodel, repair, or do cottage or home improvements, Williams Hardware, 3011B Bridges Street, Morris City, should be your first stop. Williams Hardware carries power tools and equipment, chains and fasteners, plumbing and electrical supplies, along with Gerber, Buck, and Case knives. Williams Hardware is your helpful, handy hardware store. Williams Hardware cuts glass to size and cuts and threads pipe. When the chores are done and the cleanup is finished, light up that Wilmington grill from Williams Hardware. Williams Hardware, 3011B Bridges Street, Morris City. Open Monday through Saturday from 7:30 till 6 p.m. and Sundays for your convenience, noon till 5. Phone Williams Hardware, 252-726-7158.
Well, Happy New Year, everyone. This is John Davis, Mayor of Swansboro, also candidate for County Commissioner here in Onslow County. And I would ask for your vote. Just want to say thank you out to my Swansboro staff and what they are doing to make our town be as beautiful as it is. As I like to say, that we are the diamond in the ring for Onslow County. Shout out to my staff and the hard work that y'all do in Swansboro. And certainly to my Dairy Queen, invite all of you that come through Swansboro to stop at the Dairy Queen and visit with us. and my staff there will love on you and take care of you and hopefully get you some really delicious ice cream, or if you're also hungry for lunch or dinner, we do have some really good hamburgers and chicken tenders, so you can enjoy those as well.
The best deal for the grill is at Jones LP Gas and Oil Company each Friday. Every Friday from 8 a.m. till closing at 5, Jones LP Gas and Oil Company will fill your 20-pound LP gas grill cylinder for only $11. You heard that right. Each Friday till closing, you can have your 20-pound LP gas cylinder filled for only $11 at Jones Gas and Oil Company, 3881 Wilmington Highway in heart of Verona. In addition to saving money on your LP gas for the grill, Jones Gas and Oil is your full-service gas and oil company serving residential, commercial, and agricultural gas and oil needs, as well as gas appliances, LP replacement parts, fill cylinders, and tankless water heaters, and they offer a 10% military discount on installation. Remember to get that cylinder filled every Friday until closing for only $11. Jones Gas and Oil Company, 3881 the Old Wilmington Highway, Verona. Phone 910-346-6384.
Freedom 97.1
WSME.
It's live and local. Real talk.
I'm just looking here at one of the online pieces. There is apparently in Illinois, there's a proposal. They call it a policing bill.
Sounds good.
Yeah. That would prevent officers from pulling people over for speeding or not displaying license plates.
Okay, good. That's great. So let's pass that bill, and then I'll ask the question: why do I bother going to DMV to get my tags renewed?
Why
do I pay the money to the state of North Carolina?
Right. And I can speed and do whatever I want to do.
I can make it back to Swansboro in 10 minutes now. Thank
pretty
you.
much.
Thank you, Rayford.
Yeah, we can ignore
is
that
in
new
Illinois.
drop in speed in Swansboro.
What is the purpose of that?
35. You just have to crawl.
Retired police chief, he said criminals will love it.
Because you know why?
It's a birthday gift.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yes.
Holy God.
You know, it always amazed me too. You talk to law enforcement officers and they'll say, how did you, they get a big cachet of drugs, weapons, or just bad guys out on warrant. How'd you catch them? They were speeding.
They were speeding or they were doing something else.
And it's not like it's not like they were going 3 miles over the speed limit.
No, they don't get
They were
stopped
going
for
80
that.
or 90.
Yes. It's our Chris Rayner. He's calling to tell us about sports talk today.
It's Miller time.
It's going to be Miller time on his show.
Yeah.
Let's get Chris Miller.
Hey, Chris, what's up?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Not much. How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing
Fine.
You guys
fine.
do a wonderful job as usual.
Thank you. And
Want
you
to call and give a plug for Sports Talk at 9. Of course, that Chris Miller on there.
Yep.
Talking a lot
Yes.
of high school sports, kind of the mid-season report card for basketball and wrestling and all that stuff going on.
Yeah, and
Yep.
it is going to be Miller time with you today, right?
Yes. It's,
It will be Chris
Yeah.
Miller, yeah.
Yeah.
yes, all right.
And it'll be Chris Cubed, actually. Chris Hollywood Man, Chris Rayner, and Chris Miller.
So it's a Chris day.
You know what?
And then we throw in Ashley Mosley,
Oh.
referee.
That falls right in line with it being Groundhog Day.
Yeah,
Chris,
all over
Chris,
again.
and Chris.
When in doubt, just say
Well,
Chris.
if Ashley comes out of his house in Kinston and sees shadow and goes back in, then it'll be a lot more winter.
Yeah, we can ask. Just ask Ashley if he saw his shadow this morning.
Yeah, if he doesn't show up today, a lot more winter. If he does show up, spring's on the way, baby.
Okay,
Mhm.
I hope so. I'm
Well-
ready for it.
You mentioned all the ways to tell about the weather, but you didn't mention your woolly worm.
I
Oh,
didn't.
yeah,
I
that's
didn't
right.
think about the woolly worms.
Yeah, that's
You know, if
winter.
the woolly worm is
I'm
long,
certainly
then it's
glad.
warm. If the woolly worm is really short, then it's cold.
Okay.
Chris. Okay.
What about if you just
And
get a new woolly
all
worm?
over
He'd be
the place,
short.
You can see him on the ground everywhere. So just check out the woolly worm; he'll tell you.
There you go. That's a good idea. It's kind of like that old
Yeah.
the weather rock, right? If it's wet, it's raining.
That's right. It's been raining.
If it's gone, it's windy.
That's
right.
the one.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. We'll see you in a few minutes then.
Take care. We'll
Thanks
see
for
you later.
Thank you.
calling in.
Bye. Oh my goodness gracious!
Chris and Chris.
Chris.
That ought to be an interesting show.
February is a good time for sports, guys. You
Yes.
know, you come, you get the you can say
Super
Super Bowl,
Bowl.
the big
Yeah.
game.
Mhm.
You got the Daytona 500 starting up in a couple weeks, and then spring pitchers and catchers report.
Yep.
And golf has started. The PGA
Mhm.
started. It's nice.
You
It's
know, I
nice.
see golfers out here on at the country
Sure.
club
Absolutely.
in December,
It's the
January.
best time. It's not hot. The bugs aren't biting you.
They don't care. It could be 30 degrees out there and those golf clubs stuck to their hands and they're still golfing.
Let me ask you this question,
Still
guys.
get
When you do a coin flip, heads or tails,
Mhm.
do you have one particular side in mind, heads or tails when you flip it, or do you just randomly say heads or tails? Are you a heads guy or a tails guy? You don't have to answer that, Lee.
I actually have had a method when I
I
flip it.
have a reason why I'm asking you this.
I had a way I could flip it. Depends upon where I put it here.
You think so?
It comes up. I do it every time and turn it over, and I know.
So, yeah, a gambler in Las Vegas put down $100,000 on tails. For
Really?
the Super Bowl.
Oh,
and it pays off. It doesn't pay off like 2 to 1 to 1. He can win $95,000. So he'll walk away with $195,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have
would you have the guts to
betting
do that?
No.
I mean, it's
No,
a
not
50.
me.
It's 50-50, right? It's got to be.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, 50. I mean, it's either going to be heads or
I've
tails.
never had that kind of luck on anything. I could buy a lottery ticket every day for the rest of my life and never win a
Yeah,
dollar.
but I mean the odds in lottery are huge. This is either heads. Or he's going to do a flip, heads or tails for to win $95,000. You put down 100 to win
All right.
win.
Call it.
Okay, tails. Jesus.
Where did he go? All right. And it
Heads.
was heads.
Winner. It was heads.
Yes.
See, I would have lost. I don't have the stomach for that. Yeah. See. But I know people right now are probably
That
flipping.
makes
they're
me
flipping their
nervous.
coins.
That one was tails.
Tails. See. So I bet if you flipped a coin, let's just say you flipped a coin 50 times.
Right.
I bet you it's close to 20, 25 times. It's going to come up one or the other, right? You get ready for here.
That stresses me out.
Now, he
just
should know
thinking about
because
it.
listen, he caught that and flipped it like he always said. So what is it?
Tails.
Yep.
Oh, I was right.
Okay.
Here's the
You
finish.
can. I mean, there's so many different ways to bet on the Super.
just got a
I
penny.
don't bet. I don't gamble.
It
on
makes
those-
me
on those-
nervous.
I do every time I get out on the highway.
Well, that's true.
Well, you know, we have-
And if you will, if you're in Illinois, from that bill ever passes.
We have that sports betting bill that has been passed here in North Carolina. So
No,
I
that's
wonder
okay.
what would happen in Illinois when you got a speeding motorist kill somebody and can't be charged with speeding.
Well, that would be the lesser of the charges.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
it'd
you're
be
supposed to be
reckless
charged. You're
endangerment.
supposed to be charged. You can't stop a car because you think a car that's speeding in North Carolina right now.
Right.
If you stop that car and you find 40 kilos of cocaine in it,
Right.
you better charge him with speeding because you don't have a right to stop that car
all
to
true.
look for the coke.
For the charges, that is absolutely correct.
Right.
But by the time it either gets to a plea or it gets to a
Uh-huh.
trial, that's going to be dropped. I mean, you're looking at the
That's
felony, conspiracy, felony,
whatever.
delivery. Yeah.
But it will be thrown out if you don't charge them first.
Oh no, you have to, right? Because there's no. That's right. Well, that's why you look in a court calendar and you see like a case, and you might see like a moving violation. Well, that was the initial stop.
That was the
And
reason.
then everything else from that came from that stop because then they had probable cause.
Yep.
And all the way down the line. But
Yep.
yeah, so but when it gets to
Because back in the 70s, I think it was, the Supreme Court did away with something called routine traffic stops. Used to be able to just pull people over and do a safety check.
Sure. So I'm sure
Now you have to have a reason to pull them over.
and for
you
good-
don't
and
have to give them a
but
ticket.
and for good reason though too,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
you have this thing called the Fourth Amendment.
Yeah, right,
Illegal
right.
search and seizure.
No,
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do that.
Yeah, and we talked about this, and I'll broach the subject here because it's out there. It was in the newspaper and it's been online. There was an incident recently in Jacksonville involving a Jacksonville police officer and a gentleman who was riding his bike on a public street and using his camera to take video images, he said, for content because he's a quote unquote journalist. Well, he is protected under the First Amendment,
Yes, he
and
is.
he's protected under the Fourth Amendment.
And he doesn't have to be a journalist.
And right, because what is a journal? I mean, what is that journalist?
It's an individual.
Right, it's an individual. So the officer asked for his identification, which he did not give her because she could not, in his words, articulate a crime that he allegedly had committed. They had gotten calls on this person of a suspicious person. It's on YouTube, and you see it. And I'm all for law enforcement, but they got to do better. Then they got to know what what the rights are of the citizen. And they have to always be cognizant of protecting the rights of the citizen. They called a supervisor, or he asked for a supervisor to be called. She did. He arrived, and he was he didn't help the problem. And they arrested him. He was charged with misdemeanor resisting an officer. You can see the video. He wasn't resisting. He spent. I went to the courthouse and I read the warrant. He was charged with resisting misdemeanors. Court date is on April 11th, and he spent 4.5 hours in jail. And they held him because he didn't have, as I said, fingerprints on file.
So
although he already had a trip through the judicial system, so his fingerprints should be on file. This was stuff that happened years ago, decades ago, actually. He's 42-year-old. His one address was Jacksonville, the other was Sneads Ferry. So his court date's on the 11th. It should be thrown out.
Likely
when it
will
gets
be.
to the first district court judge, it should be thrown out. But I think he's going to have, he could possibly have other issues with the city of Jacksonville. These are people that are, and I believe he is an auditor, a First Amendment auditor, because the language he used, and he was very polite, but very direct, is the same language that if you go on to TikTok, for instance,
it was a setup.
Yeah, he's bait. It's a bait, and they go all over the United States, and you can look at hundreds of videos, and it's the same.
YouTube
MO.
has a lot.
Yeah, it's the same MO and the same language, but you know what? If they're protected under the Constitution, they're snarky, but I mean that is
can't be charged with being snarky.
Yeah, and you know being suspicious is not a crime. You know.
All right, let's take a final break here. Live and local, Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSMA.
We've unlocked the vaults, and we're replaying Casey Kasem's American Top 40, the 70s. This week is from February 4th, 1974. That's when Stevie Wonder was living for the city, Al Green was living for you, Anne Murray sang a love song, and Barbara The Way We Were. You'll hear those songs and all the top 40 hits from February 4th, 1974, right here on Casey Kasem's American Top 40, the 70s.
Check out Casey Saturday mornings 8 to 11 on Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME.
Looking for a job? Full-time? Part-time? Il Cigno Italiano Restaurant wants you. We're currently hiring for hostesses, servers, bartenders, and dishwashers. Il Cigno Italiano is a family-owned, fast-paced restaurant that offers the best in fine dining on the Crystal Coast. If you're hardworking, reliable, professional, and have a desire to always strive for better, we want to talk to you. Make great money and be a part of an outstanding, dedicated team. Il Cigno Italiano on West Corbin Avenue in Swansboro.
Have you gotten your copy of Topsail Times newspaper this week? If not, did you know that Topsail Times is Topsail area's only local newspaper in print? Started a little over a year ago, we now have over 1,500 online subscribers and 5,000 printed copies that go out every 2 weeks. And we never charge our readers. Information should be free to our readers, and we stick by that. Looking for an idea for date night? Want to learn some local history? How about asking a veterinarian about your pet? These things and more are available in each copy of the Topsail Times newspaper. Want to get the word out about your business? We offer great rates for full-color ads, and the online paper version is always included for free. Need help designing the perfect ad? We can do that too. We're always looking for human interest stories, so start writing. And we love local photos too. Check out our website at topsailtimes.net, where you can find out where to pick up a copy or check out our latest publication online.
When you need comforting, who do you call? An old friend, right? Jacksonville Heating Contractors services the heating and cooling needs of our area with dependable quality train systems, guaranteeing indoor comfort for your home or business. In addition to quality train systems, Jacksonville Heating Contractors offers 24-hour emergency service, NATE certified technicians, and over 50 years of experience and service you can trust. And with a Jacksonville Heating Contractor service agreement, you never pay retail for heating or cooling services and receive priority scheduling. Remember, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And in New Bern, you can call Trent Heating and Air Conditioning 252-633-2200. In Morehead City, Sea Air Heating and Cooling 252-247-1122. If you need service or repairs, just call an old friend. Jacksonville Heating Contractors, an independent train dealer. It's hard to stop a train. For deals on train systems and more, visit anoldfriend.com or call 910-347-2843.
Don't break a heart or your bank account this Valentine's Day. Be sure to make it a Barnes Diamond Gallery gift for the love in your life. You see, you always get a sweetheart of a deal at Barnes Diamond Gallery. Family owned and operated since 1982. You are guaranteed to find the perfect diamond, emerald, ruby, or sapphire. Barnes Diamond Gallery also has a great selection of earrings, watches, bracelets, necklaces, rings, and pendants that will make that special person happy this Valentine's Day. Barnes Diamond Gallery custom designs jewelry and pays top prices for gold, sterling silver jewelry, sterling flatware, and diamonds. Make that special person feel extra special with a gift from Barnes Diamond Gallery, 461 Western Boulevard, Suite 120, right here in Jacksonville. Family owned and operated since 1982.
All right, we're back here for the last few seconds of the show. I appreciate all y'all joining us this morning and the comments that have been made.
Yes.
And Michael, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Anytime,
it's
guys.
always a pleasure.
Anytime. Good show.
Mike, thank you coming in from the Chamber of Commerce and there in Swansboro, and radio shows and a journalist too.
I've been accused of both.
Yes, been guilty of both.
This was fun.
Did you hear about that plane crash this morning in Clearwater, Florida?
I hope nobody was injured in the
Kelly
crash.
Whistler should be slapping
bunch
me
of
right
people
now.
were
The
killed.
ta-
Yeah.
And you're making light of this because it's Groundhog's Day. Lee.
I'm making light because it's Groundhog's Day. There's somebody, I'm sorry, perished. Groundhog's going to die, though.
Wow. Yeah.
Anyway,
He saw his shadow. So those who are wondering,
Yes.
that means 6 more weeks of winter, which it is
No,
anyway.
he said he didn't
right?
see a shadow.
he didn't
He
see
did
it,
not. So it's an
No.
early spring. I'm sorry. Take that
which
back.
will be on March 21st.
We'll
Yeah,
discuss
exactly.
that next week when we have
About
snow on
6
the
weeks
ground.
away.
So,
Okay.
anyway.
We'll be back on Monday, and
Yes, we
I
will.
have no idea who the guests are yet. We'll
Monday
find it.
morning, we have candidate John Davis for county commissioner. He'll
Mhm.
be with us in the studio Monday, and then we are still busy filling in the rest of the days. I mean, I have a lot for the month, but they're sporadic. But we'll be filling them in.
Working on getting Senator Tillis into, hopefully.
Yes, yes.
He came out with some good stuff yesterday, so we'll talk about that next
Right.
week as well.
Yes, I like his. I
So do I.
I like what he's done
So
recently.
we'll
really.
we'll have a good chat about that.
Yes.
Coming up next, right after Fox News break, we've got Sports Talk with Chris Rayner, Chris Rayner,
Chris Miller.
Chris Miller, and Chris Hollywood,
Hollywood.
man.
Wow.
And then there's Ashley in the
Yes.
mix. So anyway, that's
3
all
guys
coming
named
up.
Chris.
Three out of 4 are
There you
named
go.
Chris. There you go. It's the Chris Report. You're live and local, Real
like
Talk
that.
Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m., WSM8. We'll be back on Monday. Have a great weekend. Be safe. And, we don't want to be reading about you on Monday. We'll see you then.
WSME, Camp Lejeune, W246CJ, Jacksonville.
News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. Several people are dead after a small plane crashed into a mobile home in Florida overnight, bursting into flames.
We know that home was completely destroyed. 3 more nearby damaged.